What if I told you that one of the smallest countries in Africa is now standing tall on the biggest football stage in the world? A country made up of islands in the Atlantic Ocean, a country with a small population, limited resources, and a football history that was once almost unknown to the world. But today, Cabo Verde, also known as Cape Verde, is no longer just a beautiful island nation. It is now a football story, a story of struggle, identity, discipline, and belief. And in the 2026 FIFA World Cup, Cabo Verde announced itself to the world in historic fashion, holding European giant Spain to a shocking 0-0 draw. This is not just football. This is history. Welcome back to EB Trends. Today we look at the country of Cabo Verde, its history, its people, its football journey, and how this small island nation is making the world pay attention. Cabo Verde is an island country located off the west coast of Africa, in the central Atlantic Ocean. It is made up of 10 main islands, with the capital city being Praia, located on the island of Santiago. The country was once a Portuguese colony and gained independence on July 5, 1975. Because of that history, Portuguese is the official language, but the everyday language spoken by most people is Cape Verdean Creole. Cabo Verde is not a large country. In fact, it is one of the smallest countries in Africa, by land size and population. But what makes Cabo Verde powerful is not its size, it is its identity. The people of Cabo Verde are shaped by African roots, Portuguese influence, island culture, music, migration and resilience. Many Cape Verdeans live outside the country, especially in Portugal, the United States, the Netherlands, France, and other parts of the world. This strong diaspora is very important because it has also helped build the national football team. Many players who represent Cabo Verde were born or raised abroad but still carry the blood, culture, and pride of the islands. Cabo Verde's history is deeply connected to the Atlantic Ocean. The islands were uninhabited before Portuguese explorers arrived in the 15th century. Over time, Cabo Verde became an important stop for trade, ships and movement between Africa, Europe, and the Americas. But like many countries with colonial history, Cabo Verde also experienced hardship. Its people faced poverty, drought, famine, and migration. Many families left the islands looking for better opportunities abroad. Still, the country developed a strong sense of independence and national pride. After gaining independence from Portugal in 1975, Cabo Verde built itself into one of Africa's more stable democracies. Unlike some countries with rich natural resources, Cabo Verde had to depend heavily on people, services, tourism, fishing, remittances, and the strength of its diaspora. And that is what makes the football story even more powerful. Cabo Verde was not supposed to be a giant. It was not supposed to challenge the biggest nations in the world. But football has a way of giving small nations a big voice. For many years, Cabo Verde was not seen as a major football nation. In Africa, the big football names were countries like Nigeria, Cameroon, Ghana, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Egypt, Morocco, and Algeria. Cabo Verde was often overlooked. The country had passion, but it did not always have the structure, exposure, or player depth of bigger African nations. But slowly, things started to change. The national team, known as the Blue Sharks, began to develop an identity. They became organized, disciplined, and difficult to beat. They were not always flashy, but they were brave, compact, and mentally strong. Cabo Verde's football rise did not happen overnight. It came through years of building, recruiting players from the diaspora, improving coaching, and creating a national belief that they could compete with bigger teams. One of the biggest turning points came when Cabo Verde qualified for the Africa Cup of Nations for the first time in 2013. That was a massive moment. For a small island nation, just reaching AFCON was already historic. But Cabo Verde did not go there just to participate. They surprised people by reaching the quarterfinals. That tournament changed how Africa looked at them. Suddenly, Cabo Verde was no longer just a small island country. They were a serious football nation. They showed tactical discipline, team spirit, and fearlessness. They returned to AFCON again in later years, and once more reached the quarter-finals in the 2023 edition. This proved that 2013 was not a fluke. Cabo Verde had created a real football foundation. Cabo Verde's football style is based on unity and discipline. They are not usually the team that dominates possession against bigger nations. They do not always have the biggest stars or the most expensive squad, but what they do have is structure. They defend together, they stay compact, they close spaces, they frustrate opponents, and when they attack, they try to use speed, direct play, and moments of quality. This is the kind of football that can trouble bigger teams. A team like Spain may have more possession, more passes, and more shots. But if Cabo Verde stays disciplined, organized, and mentally strong, they can survive pressure and create their own moments. That is exactly what the world saw in 2026. Part 6, World Cup 2026. The biggest moment. Cabo Verde qualified for the FIFA World Cup for the first time in 2026. That alone was one of the greatest moments in the country's sporting history. For many nations, World Cup qualification is expected, but for Cabo Verde, it was emotional. It represented more than football. It represented the dream of a small country finally standing among giants. Then came their World Cup debut against Spain. Spain is one of the biggest football nations in the world. Former world champions, European champions, a country known for possession football, technical players, and world-class talent. Many people expected Spain to win comfortably, but Cabo Verde had other ideas. Spain controlled most of the ball. They created chances. They pushed forward, but Cabo Verde stood firm. Their goalkeeper Vozinha became the hero of the match, making big saves and keeping the Spanish attack out. The final score, Spain 0, Cabo Verde 0. For Spain, it was frustration. For Cabo Verde, it was history. That draw gave Cabo Verde its first ever point at a FIFA World Cup, and it sent a message to the world. Do not underestimate the Blue Sharks. Why this result matters. This result matters because it shows the changing face of world football. For years, people looked at smaller nations as easy opponents, but football is no longer only about size, money, or reputation. It is about preparation, belief, organization, and mentality. Cabo Verde did not beat Spain, but in many ways, that draw felt like a victory. It showed that they belong. It showed that their players can handle pressure. It showed that the badge, the flag, and the country mean everything to them. For young Cape Verdeans watching around the world, this was powerful. A child in Praia, Mindelo, Sal, or in the diaspora could look at that match and say, one day, that could be me. That is the real power of football. Part 8, Key Players and Identity. Cabo Verde's strength is not built around one superstar, it is built around the team. Players like Ryan Mendes have carried the national team for years with experience and leadership. Goalkeeper Vozinha became a symbol of resilience with his performance against Spain. Other players from leagues across Europe and beyond have brought professionalism, discipline, and belief into the squad. Many of these players have mixed football backgrounds. Some were born in Cabo Verde, some were born abroad. But when they wear the national shirt, they represent one identity. That is what makes Cabo Verde special. They are not just a team of 11 players, they are a symbol of a global Cape Verdean family. Part 9, Cabo Verde's future in football. The big question now is this: can Cabo Verde go even further? The answer is yes, but it will not be easy. They still face big challenges. They need more investment in youth development, better facilities, stronger domestic football, and continued connection with diaspora players. But the foundation is already there. The national team has shown that it can compete. The players have shown that they have heart. The country has shown that it can dream bigger than its size. If Cabo Verde continues to build, this may not be just a golden moment. It could be the beginning of a new football era. Cabo Verde's story is one of the most inspiring stories in world football today. A small island nation, a proud people, a difficult history, a strong identity, and now a team standing on the World Cup stage, refusing to be pushed aside. Their draw against Spain was not just a result. It was a statement. It told the world that football does not only belong to the giants, it also belongs to the small nations with big hearts. Cabo Verde may be small on the map, but in football their story is becoming bigger and bigger. And maybe, just maybe, the Blue Sharks are only getting started. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned to EV Trends for more powerful football stories, World Cup updates, and country profiles. Because in football, every nation has a story. And Cabo Verde's story is one the world should never ignore.